Okay, so let's just imagine something for a second. What if you could take a huge, messy pile of public data and turn it into a perfectly polished, ready to go intelligence brief and have it show up in your inbox in the time it takes to brew a cup of coffee? I know, it sounds a little bit like science fiction, right? Well, hang on, because it is absolutely real. So let's get right to the heart of it. This slide basically says it all. Over on the left, you've got the old way, the manual process. It's a grind. And on the right, you have the automated workflow, that sleek, fast, efficient rocket. Let's put some real numbers to that. We're talking about 980 minutes of manual work versus just 45 seconds of automated briefing. I mean, that's not just an improvement, it's a completely different way of operating. So, yeah, I can already hear you asking, how in the world do you make a leap that huge? It seems impossible. Well, let's pull back the curtain and see how it works. First step, we have to talk about the weekly data grind. And look, if you work with data, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's that feeling you get when you realize hours of our life are about to be sacrificed to a spreadsheet. It's that classic Monday morning headache, isn't it? It just completely drains your creative energy. You know, the energy you're supposed to be using for the big picture strategic thinking that actually makes a difference. And if we break down that pain, it looks something like this. You're losing 90 minutes every single week just on this one task. The quality of the output? Well, it's often rushed, it's inconsistent, and you're probably introducing, 3 or 4 errors every quarter that you have to go back and fix. But maybe the biggest problem here is scale. You're stuck looking at just one country. You can't get a bird's eye view that way. Okay, so enough about the problem. What if you had an AI-powered assistant that could do all of that grunt work for you and do it perfectly every single time? That's exactly the solution we're about to walk through. So what is this thing, really? You can call it an AI-powered economic intelligence system, but really, it's a super simple, powerful loop. It goes out and automatically fetches live data, uses AI to analyze it, and then bam, it drops a professional-grade brief right into your hands. Now, I know the tech behind this can sound complex. So here's an easy way to think about it. It's like having your own personal AI chef. First, it gathers all the best ingredients. That's the live data. Then it prepares the meal, analyzing for trends and risks. Step 3, it plates the dish so it looks incredible, generating those polished briefs. And finally, it serves it right to your table, or, your inbox. It's that simple. And this right here, this is the kitchen, where your AI chef works its magic. It's a 17-node workflow. Now, each one of these little nodes has a specific job. One grabs the data, another cleans it up, another runs an analysis, and so on, until it formats that beautiful final brief. It might look a little complicated, but this is the engine that turns that 90, 80-minute nightmare into a 45-second dream. Okay, let's step away from the tech for a minute. Let's talk about the human side of this, because this is really about transforming your day-to-day work from just mind-numbing tedium into actual high-level strategy. And I mean, a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? On the left, you have the before, that messy, raw spreadsheet data that we all know and, well, that we all know. And on the right, the after, a clean, professional, and genuinely useful intelligence brief, right in your inbox. That's the transformation we're talking about. Now let's get into some real-world results. For Marcus, an investment analyst, putting this system to work led to a potential $750,000 in revenue growth for his firm. And the key here is the how. He was getting critical macro analysis faster than anyone else on the street. He could spot opportunities before his competitors even knew where to look. So this isn't just about saving time anymore. This is about creating a real, measurable competitive advantage. Okay, next up is Sarah, an economist at a central bank. For her, the big number was 175. That's how many hours this system saved her in a single year. Let that sink in for a second. That's almost 5 full work weeks that she got back. 5 weeks she could spend on strategic policy work instead of being buried in spreadsheets. The real win here is freeing up brilliant people to do what they do best. And now for what might be the most incredible story of all. Meet Alex. He's a solo founder of a newsletter, and for him, this automation was the key to scaling his revenue to over $5.3 million. Get this. He went from about $600K to over $5 million in revenue in just 2 years. And the craziest part? He did it without adding a bunch of people to his team. This is a perfect, almost unbelievable example of what automation makes possible. It's just wow.
All right, so you're probably thinking, what's the catch? Something this powerful has to be a massive undertaking, right? A huge investment of time, money, and resources. Well, this is where the story gets even better because the barrier to entry is shockingly low.
Just look at this chart. Your total time commitment for a whole year, and that includes setup and any maintenance, is about 14 hours. In return, you get back around 74 hours of manual labor. That's like being handed nearly 2 extra weeks of vacation time. And if you want to talk dollars and cents, the annual cost is just a couple $100, but the value you get back is in the thousands. When you run the numbers, you're looking at a net return on your investment that can top 1,700%. Honestly, it's one of the highest leverage moves you can make. And getting started isn't some huge project. We're talking about a setup that takes maybe 10 minutes. Seriously, you import the workflow, you plug in your credentials, tweak a few settings to your liking, run a quick test to make sure it's working, and then you just flip the switch. That's it. You're off to the races. So, as we start to wrap this up, there's one really big idea I want you to walk away with. This whole thing isn't just about being faster. It's about being smarter. It's about achieving intelligence at scale. And you have to realize that this basic pattern, fetch data, analyze it, distribute the insights, it's completely universal. You can apply this to your sales data, your marketing metrics, operational logs, you name it. It's about giving yourself AI-powered superpowers to see patterns you never would have caught on your own. So the only real question left is the one I want to leave you with. Now that you've seen the pattern, now that you know what's truly possible, what will you automate next?